But I wanted to check out this new article that came out this morning, early this morning, and it's the Phase 2 information for Season of Discovery. So we have all sorts of new stuff coming in, and I'm just going to read over it real quick and check it out, see what's coming up. Hey, what's up, Burl? How are you? So join the Classic Development Phase 2 preview. Let's watch that. 32 minutes? I'm not watching that. I mean, I would totally watch it, but I don't want to watch 32 minutes of this stuff. Oh, it looks like it's just going over. Literally, it's 32 minutes of what's in this article. Okay, so yeah, we can just read over it in less than 32 minutes, I think. So the Nomergon raid. It's a 10-man raid. Okay, 6 bosses. There'll be a variety of new items. That's good. That's good. This right here is something that I skimmed over and I saw that I really liked. And they're talking about how they're going to have a lockout timer. So the first 2 lockout timers are going to be February 13th and then February 20th. So it's going to release on the 8th, which means that you're going to have 11 days to be able to level up to 40 and do the raid, essentially. Actually, 12 days. Wait. 5 days. Well, 11. Yeah, anyway. Math is really hard for me in the morning. So you're going to have until the 13th. So from the 8th until the 13th, you're going to have 5 days to level up to 40 and do the raid, and then there's going to be a reset. And then the reset at the 13th, and then you're going to have another week where you can have another reset. So people that want to rush it can do that, and they're going to get 2 resets before, a lot of people are going to be able to do the raid, but that's fine. Allows the other people to level a little bit more slowly, which is nice. And then they're going to start the 3-day lockout after that. So let's see what else we have here. We've got some updates for Nomergon. I didn't realize that I do know this dungeon. I actually did this dungeon. It was one of the first dungeons that I ever did in World of Warcraft because I started a little bit later and I jumped over from EverQuest 2 and I started playing probably during Wrath of the Lich King, I think. It was during one of the first expansions. And Nomergon is one of the first dungeons that I did. I don't remember it fully, but when I saw this screen right here, I was like, oh yeah, I do know that place. So that was kind of cool to be able to see that. So yeah, they're adding in some new mechanics to some of the bosses. And then I believe up here they were saying that 2 of the bosses or one of the bosses is going to have a whole new, brand new boss. So that's going to be awesome. We have lots of new loot to come in. These look very interesting. Some leather gloves that give you +5 to your fist weapons and +5 to maces. So that could be really good for a shaman, which is my main character. Release your domesticated attack chicken. So we get an attack chicken that lasts for 1.5 minutes. And then... or until defeated, and it's a 30-minute cooldown. That's kind of fun. So you can send a chicken in. It's going to be very Zelda-esque. This right here actually had me super excited too, this mace. So I believe the best offhand weapon for a dual-wield shaman is going to be a slow, high-damage mace, which is what this kind of seems like it's going to be. So this might be a really good offhand weapon, although it just has stamina on it, so it's no strength. But it could be a really good offhand weapon. But then later on, I found out about the 2-handed weapons, and Shaman might be a bit ridiculous with 2-handed weapons. We're going to find out later on. But that could be a thing that they're going to have to spec into because the attack speed alone, they get an 80% attack speed bonus. It's short term, but they can get up to an 80% attack speed bonus with 2-handed weapons. So yeah, some of these the trinket. We got another main hand mace right here that looks like it could be pretty cool for casters. And then this is the 2-handed. So this is part of what I was talking about. So this mace is a 2-handed mace. And I mean, it's going to be best for druids, but shamans can also use it, as you see right here. And then on use, increases your attack speed by 50% for 30 seconds. So that's the 50% that I was talking about. And there's another 30% that shamans get specifically, which I don't know if it's going to be additive or multiplicative or how that's going to work, but that's, kind of like an 80% attack speed bonus for 30 seconds. I don't remember how long the other one is. We'll find out when we scroll down and look. So the Necronomicon. So we have an offhand weapon or item here that can go with the mace for some of our casters, which would be awesome. And then we have some fun items, like I don't know what this is going to look like. This radiant ray reflectors. I have no idea what that's going to look like, but I'm sure that's going to look really cool and everybody's going to want it. And then where could this possibly take you? I'm curious how that's going to work too. Like, where is this whimsical world warper? Where is that going to take you to? Like, I don't know. I feel like the first few people that get this are going to be like kind of the guinea pigs, and they're going to cast it and be like, where am I going? It's going to be a lot of fun. And then, once we find out where it goes, people are just going to be doing it all the time. It's probably going to be some sort of thing from the final boss. That's my guess, is it'll be like something from the final boss, and it'll take you to like a, hey, we won the raid place, which would be kind of neat. But who knows? I don't really know what it'll do. Or it could take you to random places. So then we also have new item sets, which is nice. So we get to see the difference in the item sets. I assume that nobody uses leather anymore because they don't have a leather set showing here. So at level 40, everyone uses cloth, mail, or plate. But I thought that hunters use mail, but I thought that rogues still used leather. So how does that work? I don't know. Hopefully they have a leather set. I assume that they would, right? But yeah, we can look at some of the things here. Improve your chance to get a critical strike of melee and range attacks and spells by 1%, which is 1%, but it adds up. And then increase damage from your spells, yada yada yada. And then the 2-set and 3-set bonuses. So yeah, this has a double 2-set bonus. So you get +7 defense and 16 attack, which is kind of nice. So I like how they did that, because they're thinking, some of these new classes are not just DPS or just tank classes. So it's the one set for everyone, it seems like. They're not going to do like 2 separate sets. Because like right now, I know we have 2 leather sets. We have a caster leather set, and then you have the melee DPS leather set in BFD. And I think there's like a tank set, and for the mail armor for warriors, there's a tank set, and then there's a DPS set. So I'm wondering if they're just gonna kind of streamline it and make one set for everybody, which would be kind of good, but we'll have to see how that works out. But yeah, see, it adds another 100 armor here, which is great for the tanking warlocks. So that could be really, really nice. And let's see, set chance, create your chance on spell cast to increase your damage and healing by 40% for 10 seconds. That could be a really nice one to have for clothwares. They may want to get that 3 set. And yeah, especially if they cast a lot of fast spells, that could be really good. And then the 2-set bonus. So this is only 2-set and a 3-set bonus. The mail doesn't look like it actually has a multiple set thing like the other 2. Your attacks have a 5% chance of restoring 100 mana. That is awesome. That is really, really awesome for shamans specifically. Like, that's what this is going to be for, is for shaman. But wow, yeah, like that's huge. I'm going to have to get that set for sure. Wow. Let's see, what else? Season of Scary Phase 2, new skill books. This is something that I really, really like. So we're going to go into the 5-player dungeons, and you're going to get these new skill books from that, which are going to basically be kind of like the new runes, but I don't think they are runes. I'm not sure exactly how these are going to work, because they're teaching you new abilities, and they say they do not take a rune slot to help address things such as short or duration for paladins, and totem control for shamans, etc., etc. So these are going to be interesting. So it's almost like another thing. We have the runes, but then now we're going to have something else to also add into our characters that's not just the runes. So that could be really interesting. I'm not sure what this means exactly. Teaches you totemic projection. So I wonder if, we're going to be able to put our totems farther away and place them in certain locations, because I know that there is an ability later on for rogues specifically it's a new rune for rogues that allows them to place their traps while in combat and place them within 40 yards of them. So they don't just place them right there in front of them out of combat. They're actually able to use traps during fights, and that would be really awesome if shaman are allowed to be like, hey, I'm gonna place my totem over here for the DPS, over here for the tanks, over here, like, and you can put totems where you want them to be, and you can split up your raid, to have like a DPS group over here, like maybe all your mana users, your priest and your mages and stuff are all over to the side so that they're avoiding an AoE, and you can pop a little mana totem over there while your tank is over here to this side or something. And you can throw a tank thing over there so the shaman doesn't have to like run back and forth. I actually really like that. I think it's going to add a lot of fun gameplay. And then enhanced blessings for paladin. I don't play on the alliance side. However, it looks like that's going to help them with their duration of the auras. And then teaches redirect. I don't know what this is going to do. I have a feeling this is going to be some sort of like threat thing, so you can redirect your threat to somebody else maybe, because I know that there is a shaman rune, which we'll look at here in a minute, that allows you to give another character in your raid or another player in your raid more threat for like 15 seconds or something. It's like 45% more threat. Huge for threat building on other classes, because right now shaman have the best threat building by far, but if you're playing a DPS shaman, you can just throw 45% extra threat to your tank and then just go nuts, right? And then you're going to be building a lot of threat, but hopefully that 45% extra will help the tank actually maintain aggro, because right now it's near impossible to maintain aggro from a DPS shaman because of the way that the game currently works. So let's see, what do we have here? We got Druid Runes. So Starfire, which is already a great spell. No. The Star Surge is the good spell. But Starfire increases the critical strike chance of your next 2 Wraths by 30%. And Wrath increases your critical strike chance of your next Starfire by 30%. Both effects stacking up to 4 charges. Both spells also gain 70% chance at all times to not lose casting time when you take damage. Wow. That is going to make the druid, the spellcasting druid, probably really, really strong. And then we have King of the Jungle. Tiger's Fury now increases all physical damage you deal by 15% instead of by a flat value, and instantly grants you 60 energy. It is no longer on the global cooldown, but now it has a 30-second cooldown. That seems really good as well for the opposite side. Well, actually, I don't know. This is, all physical damage you deal. So yeah, this is going to be more your melee, so your feral druids, and this is going to be more of your moonkin, I guess. But yeah, that's going to hopefully open up the different types of druid builds, because right now you basically want to put 1 feral druid in your raid, and that's it. You don't really have any caster druids other than maybe a healer, because I think the healing druids right now are actually some of the best healers in the game. Sheath of Light. I don't really care about these, but we'll take a look at them because they're paladin. Dealing damage with your melee weapon increases your spell power by an amount equal to 30% of your attack power for 1 minute. In addition, your critical healing spells heal the target for 60% of the healed amount over 12 seconds. Okay, so it's like it adds a little dot mechanic to your healing. That's good. Each time you hit an enemy with your melee weapon, you gain 5% of your maximum mana per 3 seconds for 15 seconds. But the amount healed by your flash of light, holy light, and holy shock spells is reduced by 50% during this mana regeneration. Okay, so it helps with the mana regeneration, but then hinders them on the other end. I don't know how that's actually going to work out for paladins. Hopefully, people know what this is going to benefit for them. I'm guessing it's going to be for DPS paladins to be able to regain their mana back. I don't really know. Hopefully, paladins will figure that out. I'm not a paladin. Okay, so Hunters. Raptor Strike cooldown reduced to 3 seconds. It is now instant. Mongoose Bite cooldown removed, and Raptor Strike has a 30% chance on each attack not to trigger its cooldown. Wow, that's going to help a melee, the melee hunters kind of be more on par with the ranged hunters. So that's going to be really good. And this is the trap launcher. Oh, it wasn't rogues that have the traps. It was the hunters. I got that a little bit mixed up earlier. So your traps now can now be placed any location within 40 yards and can be placed while you're in combat. Additionally, your fire-based and frost-based traps now have separate shared cooldowns. That is going to be awesome, I think. If you know that some enemies are going to spawn, like let's say you have a raid boss or whatever, and it's over here, and you know that a group of something is going to spawn over here to the side, you can just throw down a trap. You don't even have to go run over there or anything. That's awesome. I love that they're adding a little bit more flavor to some of these classes, where like the shaman, you're going to be able to, hopefully the projection, the totem projection, you don't have to move, and you just throw a totem down wherever you want it to be. That's going to be really, really cool. Warriors, we have Rallying Cry. You let loose a Rally Cry granting all party and raid members within 40 yards 15% maximum health for 10 seconds. That's going to be huge, since it does affect the entire raid. That's going to be really good for, things like Kelris right now. We have, when you hit 30% or 35% or whatever it is on Kelris, everybody just starts taking a ton of damage. And if we just could boost that 15% HP would be a huge boost on situations like that. So warriors are going to be really, really needed for that Rallying Cry. I don't know what slot this is going to go in. It's the engraved boots. So the boots slot. So we'll have to see what other boots runes there are. Boots and runes and boots and runes. We'll have to see how that goes. Heroic Strike, Bloodthirst, and Whirlwind have a 30% chance to make your next slam within 15 seconds instant and cost no rage. That's going to be awesome for some DPS, warriors right there, so they can add in a slam. Actually, slam. No. Slam is the shield bash, isn't it? So that's going to help out the tanks so that they can do more damage and no rage cost on their slam. That's actually really nice, because slam is their shield bash, right? Isn't that what it's called? I don't even know. Like, I have a warrior too, and I play it. That was like one of my main characters when I played classic WoW, and I just don't remember. I assume slam is the shield bash. So that's cool. I like that. So rogues, we have throw a shuriken at your enemy, dealing damage equal to 25% of your attack power, and also strike up to 4 additional nearby targets. They need that so badly. That is actually really, really nice, because they have no AoE threat. Like, they have no AoE really attacks at all. They are the kings of single target damage, and this right here can do 25% of your attack power and strike up to 4 additional enemies. So that's 5 total enemies, and it awards 1 combo point. I know that right now on the final boss of BFD, when we have a rogue in there, our rogue tanks. That's pretty much it. I mean, he can DPS just fine, but it's single target DPS. So when we get the adds on the cleanse phase, we get, anywhere from 3, 4 usually. That's our goal, is to get 3 or 4 ads. But sometimes, we've had up to like 10 ads spawn during that phase, and the rogue is basically worthless. Especially a tanking rogue, he can't grab all of those. So we have to have the off tank or another tank grab everything and hopefully control all that stuff, so that our rogue can just focus on the boss. I love this. I'm very, very glad that they're adding in some sort of AoE thing for rogues. So Master of Subtlety. Attacks made while stealth and for 6 seconds after breaking stealth cause an additional 10% damage. I love that, although I'm going to hate that in PvP, because that means that PvP rogues are just going to come up to you and slaughter you instantly. They're going to do so much damage when they come out of stealth. So I expect to see that in PvP a lot. Priest runes. Blast your target. I don't know if there's a difference in reading them up here versus reading them down here. They're probably easier to read up here. Let's see if they say the same thing. Debuff would increase. Yeah, I'm gonna start reading them up here. This is probably a lot easier to read than this tiny yellow print down here. Cast Mind Spike to blast your target with Shadow Frost damage, and apply a debuff which increases the critical strike chance of your next Mind Blast on the target. This debuff can stack up to 3 times. So this is gonna be very similar to the mage right now with the rune. What is that rune? Whatever it's called, that you can stack it up to 4 times and then you do your arcane damage. That's basically what this is. So Shadow Frost damage, and then it's going to allow you to Debuff, which increases the critical strike chance of your next Mind Blast. So you would cast this 3 times, theoretically, and then cast this once, and hopefully get a free crit on that. So it increases the critical strike chance. I wonder how much it increases each time. Because if it's like 33.3%, obviously you want to do it 3 times, you have a 100% chance to crit. But then statistically speaking, you might want to only do it twice and just hope that you actually get those crits. I don't know. We'll have to see how that plays out. As a favorite from later expansion, Pain Suppression can now be cast on a friendly target to significantly reduce their damage taken and increase their resistance to dispel mechanics for a short time. That's actually really, really cool. Wait, it says right here, your next Mind Blast, target of 30%, stacking up to 3 times. So it's 30%. Okay, I'm going to read the ones that's down here in the yellow text because it gives more information than this up here in the white. So instantly reduces all damage taken by the friendly target by 40% and increases resistance to dispel mechanics by 65% for 8 seconds. That's huge for healing priests. They're going to be able to just go boom, you take 40% less damage for 6 or 8 seconds. Stack that. I think warriors, don't they get some sort of like block everything for 10 seconds? So like the first part of the fight, that's going to be huge for warriors and priest combo for the first, let's say 15, 20 seconds. They're going to basically take almost no damage, which is going to be very, very big to get everybody into position and all that kind of thing. So we got Evocation for warlocks, Refreshing Corruption, Immolate, Curse of Agony, or Siphon Life. When it has less than 6-second duration remaining, will cause you to deal instant damage to the target equal to 1 period of that spell's periodic damage. Wow. That's a lot. So how is this going to work? It says refreshing one of these 4 when it has less than 6 seconds. What if you have all of them on a cooldown of 6 seconds or less and you cast it? Does it just give like one big boom and it does 1 tick of each one of these? Because that would be really awesome to be able to try to line up all 4 of those spells and then just go, one thing of evocation. I don't know how that's going to work. I don't actually play a warlock, but that could be really interesting in a fun way. It's like it's going to change the way that warlocks are played, I feel like. Especially like I guess tanking and DPS warlocks right now basically do the same thing from what I understand. Let's see. Dance of the Wicked. You and your demon pet gain dodge chance equal to your spell critical strike chance each time you deal a critical strike to an enemy. And also both regain 2% of your maximum mana. Wow. That's awesome. So that's going to be a mana regen and a huge dodge chance. So it's going to basically make warlock tanks right now are just high armor, but they take every single hit. They have no block. They have no parry. They have, nothing like that. So this is going to give them a higher dodge chance. They're going to be kind of like monk tanks where they're going to be dodging a lot. And they're going to have decently high armor, so when they do get hit, they don't get hit for a ton of damage, but they're going to get hit probably more often than a shaman or a warrior, because we're going to be on shaman and warrior, be able to block and parry and dodge, but not dodge as much, obviously. So that could be an interesting way. I don't know how it's going to work out. That could make the warlock tanks, tier 1 tank for this season. Right now they're not bad, but I didn't feel like that they were the best. I still feel like shaman tanks were really, really good, and then the warrior tank could kind of... Honestly, the warrior tank is probably the best all-around tank, in my opinion, for this phase, for the current phase 1. Mage runes. So we have Missile Barrage. So it gives your Arcane Blast a 40% chance, and your Fireball and Frost spells a 20% chance to reduce the channel duration of your next arcane missile spell by 50%, reduce the mana cost by 100%, and missiles will fire every half second. So Arcane Blast, which we already use a lot, so I personally go with the Arcane Caster on my mage, and I use the Arcane Blast. I do that 3 or 4 times, and then I use the Missile Barrage. So that's going to, most likely proc after you cast it a couple times. So it's going to be a free cast, and it's going to reduce the channel time. So it's going to take it from once every 5 seconds to once every half second. So 2.5 seconds, you're going to be doing the same amount of damage you do in 5 seconds. That's going to be really, really awesome Healing mages are going to be, able to actually sustain some mana and do a lot more damage. In addition to that, if you play Fire or Frost Mage and you pay attention to it and you're doing a lot of Fireball, you can just throw in a free missile barrage, I guess, or arcane missiles. You can just throw in a free one every time you see it proc. So you're going to have to pay attention to that, but whenever you see it proc, just boom, throw it in there, and it's basically free damage for you. I like that a lot. It gives, they're adding a lot, from what I can tell, they're adding a lot of interaction with your character rather than just, here's the rotation. So you're waiting for a thing to pop up. I like and don't like that at the same time. Like right now with my warrior, for example, I could not stand playing my warrior for a while because I was waiting. It's like whack-a-mole. You're waiting for something to happen and then hitting a button, and then waiting for something to happen and then finding which button you have to hit and hitting that button. It was just playing a game of whack-a-mole, and I did not enjoy it at all. But now I figured out how to play my tank warrior. So it's not even a prot warrior. It's actually like an arms warrior, but it's your tank, and you just basically hit two buttons. Just keep spamming those two buttons, and you do 200 DPS and tank everything just fine. So hopefully they fix that, because honestly it's a little too strong. So what is this? Chronostatic Preservation. Fuses arcane fire and frost magic to freeze chronomatic energy into stored state for later use. You can hold this energy for up to 15 seconds before it combusts and expires. And explodes. That would be hilarious if you're like holding on to it and you never use it and it just explodes, kills the entire raid. I would love that. Please change this from expires to explodes. When unleashed, heals a nearby friendly target. Oh, that would actually be really cool if it explodes and then does healing. So just let it expire every 15 seconds. It just does like an explosion and heals everybody, in an area. That would actually be really cool. I would love that. This spell is considered arcane fire, and frost for the interactions with other spells, talents, and effects. That's cool. So is this going to allow them to allow a fire or frost mage to also do a little bit of healing every now and then, like some spot healing here and there? That could actually be really nice just to have, because then you could only have like one dedicated healer, and then they're kind of making that mage more of a, hey, I'm DPS, but in fights that we need to have some extra healing, I can also spot heal the tank or whoever needs it. So that's really cool. For the shaman runes, we actually get 3 runes that they show us instead of 2 like the other classes, so we're special. When you deal damage, excuse me, sorry about that. When you deal damage with a melee attack, you have a chance to reduce the cast time of your next lightning bolt, chain lightning, lesser heal wave, healing wave, chain heal, or lava burst by 20%, stacks up to 5 times. Wow. This is going to be awesome. Grave on your belt. So you put that on your belt. I would put lava burst on my gloves, and then you just you're just dual wielding, and then all of a sudden, boom, you just explode with your lava burst. That could be really fun. I don't know if that's going to be good or not. I mean, the thing is, I feel like they're trying to get you into doing dual wield with lava lash, which is the offhand weapon on the shaman. But that could be a way to add a little bit more. Another way to add DPS healing, like the mage up here. So like you can have a DPS that just does healing wave or whatever, or chain heal, and it heals a bunch of people absolutely free every so often. So yeah, this would be really good for a dual wield, specifically a dual wield. Although with that attack speed, which we're going to talk about over here with a two-handed mastery, that 80% attack speed, it might be okay, to be able to use this ability with that. So we'll have to check that out. Fuses the target with the spirit of an alpha wolf. This is the one that I was talking about, the threat increase. So increasing all threat generated by the target by 45% for 30 minutes? What? I thought it was 30 seconds. So you are basically giving someone else 45% bonus threat for 30 minutes. That is insane. So you just put that on the main tank and then be like, all right, bye. I can do whatever I want to do. You're not going to lose threat because you got 45% bonus threat. Or you can put it on yourself. That's huge. That is huge. I think this is going to be for boots and runes. This is going to be like somebody in the raid is going to have this, whether it's the shaman tank or just a shaman DPS. If they want to be able to do their full potential DPS, they put this on there. That's going to be huge. Each time you strike an enemy, this is the two-handed weapon mastery. So each time you strike an enemy with two-handed weapon, you gain 30% attack speed with two-handed weapons for 10 seconds. So this is basically every time you strike, 30% attack speed. And then the other thing was 50% attack speed for whatever it was, right? 30 seconds, which you can only use once every 3 minutes. So for 30 seconds every 3 minutes, you're doing 80% attack speed with two-handed weapons. That is insane. And if you get that, if you have that weapon that it has that proc on there, I don't know what that's going to do. That's going to be crazy. I don't know if that's going to be better for druids or going to be better for shaman, but that's going to be crazy to see. We do have a lot of PvP updates coming in as well with Phase 2 of Discovery. We're introducing new PvP, the Blood Moon. This event brings a lot of bit of mayhem to Stragglethorn Vale, and Blood Moon will shine above the zone, casting an eerie red fog. Create this event, more predictable timetable so that players can plan for when they're able to. Okay, so every 3 hours, the Blood Moon will happen. It'll last for 30 minutes. And during this event, killing players will allow you to earn currency, which can be traded for various rewards while you still grow up with your allies and the events. Okay. So I actually like that a lot better than our current Ashen Vale PvP event, the way they have that currently set up, which they've changed so many times. But currently, it's every 2 hours it can happen, and we have to kill a certain number of enemies in the whole zone, and then you can trigger it, basically. I really don't like that. It started out where we could just trigger it as fast as possible, and people were gaining a ton of reps, so I totally understand that, and it was easy to rep up, but now it looks like they're going to try to make it more of a scheduled every 3 hours for 30 minutes. Boom, here you go. Go crazy with your PvP stuff, have fun, and then get back to whatever you're doing in the other game or the rest of the game. For those who would rather live in peace and harmony with the land, you can opt out of the event by speaking with the emissary. You will not be able to earn any rewards from the event if you opt out, and general realm PvP rules still apply. Unlike in the Ashen Vale PvP event, there will not be any PvP objectives. So that's good. You also need to keep a sharp eye for the Chosen of Blood. What? Who is more than a force to be reckoned with. So there is going to be an event. That literally is... what? Okay, so this is going to be a straight-up PvP event. You're going to kill other players. You're going to gain rewards. This is probably going to be worth it. Let's see what the rewards are down here. If you're looking to spend your currency on rewards, you will have a sneak peek of new class-specific rewards. So we have a seal here that goes on. So it's a ring with 9 stamina and 6 intellect, and this is for a mage. Increases damage done by fire spells and effects by up to 16. Seems pretty good. And then we have a mace. This is a one-handed mace, 10 strength. So this might be the offhand weapon. Oh, that's specifically for warriors. I wonder if they're going to have one for each class then, it seems like. So these are, some examples of that. I'll have to see how that plays out. But warriors want fast weapons right now, if I'm correct. So I don't think that this is going to be a very good weapon for them at 2.3 second speed, or 2.3 speed, whatever. What to see? I don't know. New mounts. There are also new faction agnostic mounts. Acquire these level 40 mounts have new appearances. There are also new quests. Okay. So new quests with new mounts. I would rather have the saber-toothed tiger, but I guess I'll have to settle for the raptor over here, unless you can choose either one. Did they say they were faction specific? I didn't. New faction agnostic mounts. Okay, so faction agnostic means that you should be able to use either one. So I'm going to get this one. The saber-toothed tiger. I like it better, I think. I don't know. I have to see them in game and see which one I like better. Anyway, maybe I'll get them both. Additional adjustments are coming to matchmaking. This is huge. So the PvP updates, I'm just going to summarize this really quickly. They're going to say if you have 5 or fewer players, they're going to try to match you with 5 or fewer players on the other team. And if you have 6 or more players, they're going to try to match you with 6 or more players on the other team. But if they can't do that after a certain amount of time, they're still going to just throw you into a general pool so that the queue times do not get crazy. That's essentially what that says. Ashenvale will be moving to a 3-hour timer as well in Phase 2. This is dumb, but, whatever. So a 3-hour timer in Phase 2, it's already went from like a 45-minute to an hour timer to a 2-hour timer, and now they're going to make it a 3-hour timer. The weekly quest world buff will not apply to players level 39 or after level 39. So level 40 players, you cannot do the weekly buff, which, by the way, if you don't know, the weekly buff quest does give you 1,000 rep and will take you all the way up to revered. So if you're not doing that, you have 1 week to do it. So get on it. Go do it. You can get at least the 1,000 rep. I haven't been doing it. I've been staying on top of it as I should have, but whatever. Profession updates. Is it Exalted, Mez? Thank you. Exalted. So it'll take you from all the way up. You can get up to Revered doing the event, and then you can go up to Exalted doing the thing without having to actually do PvP. So there you go. It's been very beneficial to a lot of people. I wish that I had used it a lot more during Phase 1, and I didn't. After the positive reception of professions, so this right here, it looks really, really awesome. We're getting new profession gear. So the professions are going to go up to 225, and then we're also going to get a whole new set of gear that you can get, but you have to have that profession. So for leatherworking, we're getting a nice leatherworking mail set here. I assume that there's not a leather set. I don't know. I talked about this a minute ago. I don't know if Mez, if you were here when that happened, but do rogues still wear leather in at level 40? I thought they did. So I thought hunters, shamans get mail. Warriors are going to go to plate. Most cloth wearers are going to stay cloth. So rogues also get mail. So nobody wears leather anymore at level 40. Okay, that's good to know. Or they do still wear leather. So yeah. Anyway, improves engage the radiation mitigation protocols of this helmet, causing you to immediately remove all active poison effects and gain immunity to all nature damage for 3 seconds. That is going to be insanely good, because I bet you there's going to be so nature damage is your lightning damage, and you're going to be going into the Nomergon raid. There's probably going to be lightning damage or whatever. So if you are immune to the boss for 3 seconds, that could be huge. So yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. Hello, Seminole. How are you? Rogues and druids are still leather. Okay. So leatherworking won't make mail until Phase 3. No, leatherworking right here. It's gonna make mail right here at 225 in Phase 2. So we're going to definitely have a mail drop from leatherworking in Phase 2. At least, not drop, but a crafted item. At least one if you are an actual leather worker. We may not have other stuff, but we'll have to see. The cloth item, oh my gosh, that is so tiny. Let me see if I can get closer. Harness the instant arcane energy in the nearby air to give you charged inspiration, reducing the mana cost of all spells by 50% and increasing damage and healing done by up to 50 for, let's say, 17 seconds. It's a weird number, but okay. Wow. Yeah, that could be really good. You previously needed a specialization. They're going to start specialization in Phase 3. So professions will cap at 225 and specializations in Phase 3. So I'm guessing what they're going to do is maybe at 225, you're going to be able to make this mail, and that's it. You're not going to need the specialization. You're just going to be able to make that, because this is going to be the same thing as our current extra planar or whatever the thing is that we are currently can craft at our professions, right? That's why I assumed you need Phase 3 to make mail. Yeah. So we'll have to see what happens. I don't know, but it's showing right here that leatherworking will be able to make mail, at least for this one epic pattern. And then for the plate wearers, gain reinforced willpower, preventing silence, interrupt effects, and spell pushback for 10 seconds. Wow, that's a big slap in the face. This piece is a huge slap in the face to warriors. This is specifically for paladins. Increases damage and healing done by magical spells and effects. Okay, so what are you going to do for warriors? There's got to be another plate item for warriors that they're going to be able to wear. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Yeah, you have at least one recipe that's going to be male. So alchemists and enchanters are also getting their personal use items, which I kind of like. I like that, if you are willing to put in the time and energy into a craft, you should get a small benefit. Should you get a huge benefit? No. But yeah. There was zero int, okay, yeah. There was 0 int on plate and mail gear or whatever in phase 1. Really? Healer paladins had to wear cloth and leather. Well, whatever. I don't think they did a whole lot of healer paladins, though. They could just break the game with their invulnerability. But let's look at the enchant here. Allows you to conjure a sigil of evocation. So gain an enchanted sigil of evocation, empowering you to deal up to 20 increased damage and healing with spells, and increase attack power by 20 for 30 minutes. That's nice. This can only be applied outside of combat. What do you apply it to? Binds when picked up. I'm assuming you bind this, you apply it to your weapon, because that's usually what happens with these enchants. So I guess this is going to go on your weapon. So you can have this, or you can have some of the other enchants. We'll have to see how that plays out. If they stack, that's going to be awesome. If they don't stack, then hopefully this is, better than anything else that you can put on there. And then for alchemy over here, this is huge for shamans, and I have alchemy on my shaman, so I'm very happy about this. But it restores, a good bit of mana and health, and also attack power by 40. And damage done by all spells by 35 for 15 seconds. That is awesome. I'm going to love to have that. I think it's like a potion. You imbue yourself. Yeah, maybe you imbue yourself. I don't know. Find a couple recipes to bring more utility throughout their gameplay. Here's examples. Yeah, I don't know. It just says on use. So you use it. Empowering you to deal up. So yeah, maybe it's just like a one-use thing, and you for 30. It's just a buff, I guess. Maybe it's just a buff. And then no more GDKP runs. I'm not even sure what they mean by all this. I know what GDKP is. It's the gold DKP. I guess some people were doing GDKP runs, and I guess because of gold buying from, the gold sellers, that was becoming more and more of an issue. People were just able to buy everything out of raids. I don't know. This shouldn't affect anything from if you're in a static party or if you're in a guild or something like that. It shouldn't affect that. Although our guild, when we played EverQuest 1, one of those reboot servers, we did use a gold DKP in that guild, and it worked out really, really well for us. And we thought about doing it at one point for Season of Discovery, but I guess we're not going to be doing that now. I don't know. I don't like what can prevent them from doing it. People can still say, "Hey, we're doing gold DKP," right? Like it's not put into the game, but we can still do it. Like they can't really stop you from doing that. I don't think. So I'm not sure, what all this means, but I guess if this, in my opinion, this is your choice. If you want to go to a run that uses gold DKP, that's your prerogative. Like, spend gold on it, all that kind of stuff. I personally don't like the buying and selling of gold, but let's see how that works. Prevent trading of raid items. They might. Does it say that I don't think anywhere in here it says that they're going to stop the trading of raid items, like the whole 2-hour thing. Making everything BOP, no trade. They could do that, I guess, but you could still do gold DKP if you do it during the run and say, hey, everybody bid your gold, highest bidder, and you assign that item to the highest bidder right there on the spot. I don't know how they're really going to prevent it, but whatever. It's not too late to join the Season of Discovery for players looking to catch up. This right here is huge. I love this right here. So if you have not played previously, or maybe you just want to change your class, maybe you're like, I'm really not enjoying my class at level 25. I want to play something different. You're going to be able to get to level 25 excuse me, 50% faster. So you're going to get a 50% experience buff from 1 to 25. I don't know if this is going to start, though, or when this is going to start. because it doesn't have an actual time that it starts. I'm assuming it's going to start February 8th. So if you start at level 1 on February 8th, you're going to be able to get those first 25 levels much faster. It takes about 20 to 30 hours, depending on what you're doing, to get to level 25. So we're talking 10 to 15 hours to get up there. Now, if you know exactly what you're doing, you know the routes to go, you could probably do it in about 2 hours. So that could be really beneficial to people that are wanting to change their class or just try out different classes and get them leveled up. I feel badly for people that leveled up every single class the slow, hard way if they wanted to do that. But, hopefully they had fun doing that. Anyway, that is it for the update on World of Warcraft Season Discovery Phase 2. There's a lot of stuff going on here. I'm excited for it. The new raid looks like it's going to be great. And, I can't wait to jump into it. So